Oh, so it turns out Hasselhoff 15 is, of course, as his team. How do I not know that? Probably because I'm always looking up at my mini league at that name, and I only ever look down because I'm scared of people catching me. But as what you doing with Pinnock, mate? Absolute schoolboy error. Someone backed the double game week. What did he return in the double? By the way, mate, I'm coming for you. And you've only got Foden in your team because of me. I cannot wait to see what you do with this team. I feel like you might be taking my advice. We'll see. Very excited now to pimp your team with Chasing Green Arrows. The way in which I'd probably pimp this team is I'd look at selling either Alonso or Gundogan, right? You could possibly hold Gundo because you like the fixture, but is he in that starting 11? I'm not so sure. Now, Alonso is someone you're going to have to sell anyway because of a couple of blanks coming up. The Spurs fixture's all right. So I'd probably sell Gundogan first. And if I was doing that, I'd be very tempted on Coutinho, very similar price point, back your guy at Villa, and then maybe ship Alonso out next week, where you have the third City spot to go for a Man City defender. Double City at the back looks good at the moment. Finding Timo, Mohamed. What a squad you have built. Fair play. Like, there is very little I can tweak with this team. But to pimp your team this week, I would probably look either rolling a transfer or possibly taking a goalkeeper transfer. Now, look, many of us don't like using transfers on goalkeepers. They're not seen as sexy moves, but there's not much difference to transferring out a defender as there is to a goalkeeper. Consider it this week, mate, because yes, Ramsdale's done very well for you, and I'd probably keep him because 5.1, very similar price to your other keeper, Jordan Pickford. Now, Everton could have new manager bounce, but even if they do, I can't see clean sheets galore. Unless Big Sam takes over, maybe, stranger things have happened. But I'd probably sell Pickford. I'd probably go David De Gea. Yes, that gives you two good keepers, but you're not saving a huge amount by selling Ramsdale and keeping Pickford anyway. And don't forget, Ramsdale's got a couple of blanks coming up, so you're going to be relying on that second keeper. Cool. Sheffield Wednesday. Love the team name, Jake. Look, Jake, you've got a cracking starting 11. Your bench is a little bit iffy, isn't it? Like, Smith Rowe's not in the 11 at the moment. Brownhill and Livramento, you can probably ride the storm, but I feel like you need one good starting sub. And for that reason, I would be tempted to sell Smith Rowe. Now, you've got a bit of money in the bank, 1.7 million. I'm not sure if that's quite going to get you to sort of Foden levels, but if you can, you have got a third City spot up for grabs. And with Mahrez at the AFCON, there is one fewer Man City attackers to be competing with that roulette. And I wonder, I think you can just about stretch to a Jack Grealish. Now, this sounds very outside the box, very differential, and it is. But Grealish missed a big chance last time out against Chelsea, should have put it away. He is getting a lot of game time on the left, and Man City are about to go on a really nice fixture run. I would consider Smith Rowe to Grealish. If you want to be a bit safer, I say safer. This isn't safer, but it will be seen as safer. That would be Coutinho. But for me, I'd go Grealish on your team. Yeah, you've got a lot of money in the bank there, Gladiator 11. So to pimp your team, I would be selling Trossard this week. I'm guessing you bought Trossard in for the double. It was a bit of a short-term punt. I would go Trossard to someone like a Raheem Sterling, and I think you can afford that. Now, Sterling can be your placeholder for Mo Salah. Again, we're looking at a lot of teams without Salah. You're going to want Salah back in at some point very soon. Sterling short-term, maybe for Southampton, Brentford, Norwich, and then jump on Mo Salah. I like that move a lot, and you're in a very fortunate position, Gladiator 11, with your bags of cash in the bank. Lord of the Ings, double Everton. It didn't work off for you against Norwich. It didn't work in what we thought was going to be a double game week behind that, but stay patient. Honestly, new manager bounce in FPL can really work out for you. And Villa's not the easiest fixture, but beyond that, it's Newcastle, Leeds, Southampton, like 4 good games there for Everton. And I just wonder, with the new manager and whether it's Duncan Ferguson in charge short term, I just wonder if we'll see an increased performance from the likes of Gray or DCL. We don't know what went on behind the scenes. We don't know if they got on well with Rafa, but if they didn't, you can almost guarantee they've got a point to prove. And I just think it's worth staying patient. You've come this far with those 2 Villa assets. So looking at your team, would I pimp this team? I struggle to actually make a move. I'd be very tempted to roll the transfer. Of course, if we get double game weeks, that changes things. Livramento at the moment is the one you'd possibly sell, but I wouldn't bother using a transfer on someone that's third on your bench. You're unlikely to need him this week. and you've probably got a bit of money tied up in him as well. Without money in the bank, I'd roll your transfer, mate. Good team. Yes, Juste 11. If Ronaldo's looking fit, I would hold him for that home fixture. I always prefer Ronaldo and United at Old Trafford. Again, I'm looking at Alonso thinking, we know we're going to have to sell him. Why? Well, he's got a couple of blanks coming up, right? There's no point in keeping him in your team. It's a lot of money there. You're relying at the moment as your kind of fourth and fifth defenders are Dawson and Livramento. I would get that third defender spot, Alonso out, and then I'd look at possibly who flip-flops well with Dawson. So Dawson starts one week and perhaps you save a little bit of money and go for either a Wolves defender or a Villa defender. Check out who balances well with Dawson. And if you're going Villa, I'd look at Dean. And if you're going Wolves, I'd look at Aït-Nouri. Definitely those two teams going under the radar at the moment, especially Wolves, like keeping loads of clean sheets. And for some reason, we're ignoring them in FPL. Now, Aït-Nouri is like 4.3 million. That would save you a lot of cash. And I think you're going to get returns. Chicken tikka masala. What a fortunate position you're in. You've got 2 free transfers, and we love that. But I'm definitely going to be pimping this team, guys. Right. So who has to come out? Your flagged players, right? Pretty obviously, we need to get rid of Reece James. We don't know how long he's out for. Even if he was fit, Chelsea don't have the fixtures. He comes out. And then I'm a fan of getting rid of Smith Rowe. And I know there'll be loyalty towards Smith Rowe because he's got you loads of points. Some of them have been lucky points off the bench, I might add. He's not getting in the 11, therefore I'm selling. And even if he does get back in that 11, and I'm sure he will, not before long, there's a few blanks in that Arsenal schedule coming up. So Reece James replacements, I'd go and save some money and go Aït-Nouri. I'd consider Aston Villa as well, Luca Dean. Always go full-backs over centre-backs for me, dependent on the team, of course. But Aït-Nouri and Dean are encouraged to get very, very far forward. And then I'm looking at Smith Rowe thinking, okay, maybe that is time to cover a little bit of Aston Villa. Maybe you go Coutinho, so you cover Aston Villa there for Smith Rowe, and then you bring Reece James down to an Aït-Nouri, saving you quite a lot of money. Use your 2 free transfers this week, or of course you lose them if you don't. Hasselhoff, wow. We like picking wide forwards that are out of position but are listed as midfielders. We clearly never pick DMs, but many of us go for number 8s, your James Ward-Prowses, your Tielemans. You don't, my friend. You go for fast, pacey forwards in Jota, in Bowen, in Martinelli. You go for the flair, the out-of-position Foden. You've gone Bruno, who's pretty much played second striker, although we might see him more in a midfield 3 moving forward. It's all-out attack, and I like it. However, all-out attack, that chip went a few years back. You're writing off your defence, are you? Clearly, Cancelo and Trent have done well, but I feel like you need a better third-choice defender. Now, you can get one. You don't have to spend bags of money to get a good third-choice defender, right? I'm not sure how much you've got in the bank, but you could actually downgrade Pinnock to an Aït-Nouri. Now, it's downgrade in terms of price. It's a massive boost in terms of performance, clean sheets, assists. So if I'm selling Pinnock, I go Aït-Nouri. Possibly you sell Johnson or Livramento to perhaps invest in that Wolves defence. And if you don't like Wolves for whatever reason, check out Aston Villa. Check out even a West Ham starter. You could go sideways move from Johnson. But yeah, I'm selling Pinnock to Aït-Nouri. That's how I'm pimping this team. Or I might pimp this team if I can by selling Livramento to Aït-Nouri, depending on price. Oh, so it turns out Hasselhoff 15 is, of course, Az's team. How do I not know that? Probably because I'm always looking up at my mini league at that name, and I only ever look down because I'm scared of people catching me. But Az, what you doing with Pinnock, mate? Absolute schoolboy error. Someone backed the double game weeker. What did he return in the double? By the way, mate, I'm coming for you, and you've only got Foden in your team because of me. I cannot wait to see what you do with this team. I feel like you might be taking my advice. We'll see. Attock Athletic. I know this team. Hello, FPL Salah. And what a worldy season you are having, by the way. Fair play. We expect nothing less, right? However, I do expect more from you, mate. I expect more from you with Ivan Toney. What's he doing in your team? Get rid of Ivan Toney. The time has come. That I know why you kept the patience. He had the double game week, but I'm guessing you're selling, and I'm keen to see who you're selling for. I personally would pimp this team by selling Toney, and if Vardy is still out, and we don't know yet, I would probably go Daka as a short-term option if you can stretch that far. If you can't, I'd be pimping this team with Toney out and Brozier in. The fixtures aren't kind to Southampton at the moment, but Brozier's just so good, isn't he? But fair play, mate. What a team. Fire as I expect. Oh, Baka, you having a good season, mate, and fair play with your Bruno Fernandes buy. I'm guessing a good friend of yours might have advised you to go for that move, claiming it as your own, I'm sure. But look, fair play, mate. You're having a good season, but I would be pimping this team with a transfer out now. Spoiled for choice, aren't we? Which Chelsea defender are you selling this week? I mean, you've got to get rid of James. You've got to get rid of Alonso now as well. Who am I selling first? I'm probably selling James just because Alonso versus Spurs, he's got history there, scored a worldie free kick against Spurs a few years back. But Reece James, who'd you sell him for? I'm a big fan of the Wolves defence. I'm guessing you are too, looking at the data. I'd save the cash. I'd go for a cheapo. But the cheapo's performing big, and it's 8 Nori at 4.3 mil. That's how I'm pimping this team. Loved pimping your teams, guys. That was loads of fun. Good luck for game week 23. I've been Gianni Buttice, and this is Chasing Green Arrows.